Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day by Teddy Lasser. Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day by Teddy Slatter. One fine day, East Wind traded places with the Wind West, and they stirring things up in a 100-acre wood. And on that windy day, Winnie the Pooh decided to visit his thoughtful spot. As he walked along, he made up a little hum. This is how he went. Oh, the wind is slashing lushy, and trees are thrashing thrushly. The leaves are rustling gustily, so it feels that it will undoubtedly be a rather blustery day. As soon as Pooh reached into the thoughtful spot, he sat right down in front, thinking of something. Thinking, Pooh mumbled to himself, but nothing came to mind. Think, Pooh tried again, putting one paw to his head. Each catch through the ice might come wandering along. Suddenly, Gopher popped up the gopher hole and said, "What's wrong, Sonny? You got yourself a headache." "No," Pooh said, "I was just thinking." "Is that so, Gopher? Well, if I were you, I'd think about skedaddling out of here. It's Wednesday, and you know, Wednesday." "Why is so?" said Pooh, and then he finally had a thought. It was a good one. He thought, I thought I should go with everyone to the Happy Wednesday," Pooh announced. "And I shall begin with my very happy friend, Piglet." Piglet lived in the middle of the forest in a very grand house, and the blustery day he was sweeping the fallen leaves away from the front door. He just went to the last leaf and went to the big gust of wind that was right in front of him, scooping him up and whisking him away. "I don't mind the leaves that are carving," Piglet observed. "It's the leaves that are coming." And with that, he was blown away into the Pooh Bear. "Happy Wednesday," said Pooh. A great gust of wind lifted Piglet right for the little pink feet. "Well, isn't it very happy for me?" Piglet said up. "Where are you going?" Pooh cried, running after their friend. "That's where I'm asking myself. Where? And what do you think of you will answer yourself?" "Pooh," he asked, grabbed a hold of Piglet's scarf, and just before he floated out of reach. "Oh, Pooh, I'm unraveling," Piglet cried. Indeed he was, or rather the scarf was, like a pink kite on a long string. Penguins sailing in the sky. "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear," he stammered, clutching on the string. "Hang on, Piglet," cried Pooh from down below. It was long before Piglet was flying over Krang's house. Krang has outside of the mail. "Look, Mama," said Roo, peering at the mother's pouch. "A kite." "That's not a kite," says Kanga. "It's Piglet." And before Kanga could say another word, Pooh skidded into the top of the front of her. "Happy Wednesday, Kanga," he said. "Happy Wednesday, Roo." "Can I fly Piglet next, Pooh?" Roo asked. But Pooh and Piglet had already breezed past little Roo. "Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear," called Piglet. He swooped right through the left of the gusty air. "Oh, boo, brother," Poor exclaimed, bouncing and slinging along with him. When Piglet finally found the nerve to look down, there was Eeyore looking up at him. He was busy repairing his house, which the wind was down below the pieces. He had just put his last stick back in the place where the Pooh came crashing through. "Happy Wednesday, Eeyore," said Pooh. Then he went zipping off along, and all that remains of Piglet's scarf. "Thanks for noticing me," said Eeyore. Not far from everyone's house was Rabbit's garden. "Ah, what a refreshing day for harvesting," Rabbit said. Along pulled a large orange carrot. Looking up, he suddenly saw Pooh coming down him top speed. "Oh no," said Rabbit, waving his arm frankly. "Happy Wednesday," Pooh called, kicking up a whole new carrots. "Oh yes," Rabbit chuckled, and the carrots fell from the smack of the wheelbarrow. "Next time I hope the plows will run through the rutabaga patch." Stronger and stronger the west wind blew, and before long Piglet found himself down below, right against Owl's wind. Owl was awkward from the peaceful snooze and the loud crash. "Who?" he said, opening the big round eyes. "Who is it?" "It's me," Piglet said. "Please, may I come in?" "Well, I say now, Owl said, his eyes rounded than ever. Someone in his past Piglet was on my window. Just then, Pooh's face appeared beside Piglet's, and Owl's invited them both in. Soon Pooh, Wiglet were comfortable with seats in Owl's cozy living room. I am correct, assuming that it's rather a bustly day, asked Owl. Oh yes, that remains me. Happy Wednesday, Owl. And Pooh only eyed his eyes honey pot in front of him at a table. Wednesday. Owl hooted at the wind, whistled through his house. My good fellow, I wouldn't go as far as call it Wednesday. Just a mild zipper. Excuse me, Owl, but there was any honey in the pot? Pooh shouted over the howling wind. Oh yes, of course. Help yourself. While Pooh eagerly reached for the pot of honey, which is in the wind that just blown clear across the table, Owl continued with the story. And I say, this is the mild zephyr compared to the big wind of 67, or was it 76? Owl muttered, scratching his head. Oh well, no matter. I remember the big blow. Well, it was Aunt Clara went to visit her cousin. Now her cousin was just only gifted with a glass butt at the wind went roaring through the house. Oh, proceeded to tell his friends all about the Aunt Clara's cousin. He didn't seem to notice that the teacups clattered to the floor, and he barely paused as the wind swept through Piglet right to the door and back up again. It was until the whole house came crashing down upon the ears of the Owl finally finished his tale. As soon as Christopher Robin heard the news, he hurled down the scene of Owl's disaster. What a pity. Christopher Robin saw the state of Owl's house in and didn't think he would be able to fix it. If you ask me, he said, Aor, the house looks like that. It's time to find another one. Then he shook his head and said, it might take a day or two, but don't worry, I'll find a new one. Good, said the Owl, settling back to the rocking chair. That will just give me time to tell you about my Uncle Clyde. And that's just what he did. On and on Owl talked until the bustly day turned into blustery night. For Pooh, it turned out to be an anxious sort of night, filled with anxious sort of noises. One particular noise he'd never heard before. It wasn't a rumble, it was a grumble. It wasn't exactly a growl, but it was coming just outside Pooh's door. Is that you, Piglet? Pooh called, but answered, Eeyore. Pooh tried to answer, and finally, Christopher Robin, when he was there to answer, Pooh got out of the bed, went to investigate, and being a bear with very little brain, he decided to invite his new sound in. Hello, flinging the front door open. Suddenly, a big bouncy creature bounced in and knocked Pooh forward back. Hello. The creature said at the top of Pooh's chest, I'm Tigger. Oh, Pooh, probably looking at the Tigger's smiling face. You scared me. Sure I did, Tigger said naturally. Everyone's scared of Tiggers. Who are you? I'm Pooh, said Pooh. What's a Pooh? Tigger asked. You're sitting on one. Pooh informed him. No further ado, Tigger climbed to Pooh, stuck out his paw, and said, Glad to meet you. Tigger's my name. T-I-double-ger, that's the spell as Tigger. But what's a Tigger? Pooh asked, painfully puzzled. Without a pause, Tigger proudly replied, The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are a wonderful thing, and their tops are made of rubber, and their bottoms are made of springs. They're bouncy, bouncy, fancy, bouncy, fun, but the most wonderful thing about Tigger is that they all have one. And to prove his point, Tigger bounced around the room on his springly tail, repeating, I'm the only one. If you're the only one, what's that over there? Pooh asked, pointing at Tigger's reflection in the mirror. What a strange-looking creature, said Tigger. Look at his beady little eyes, poor postur's chin, ridiculous stripped pajamas. Pooh nodded, and then he said, Look, that's another Tigger to me. Tigger decided to change the subject. Oh well, what I said was hungry. I don't think so, said Pooh. Well then, I'll say it. I'm hungry, not for honey, I hope, Pooh, but casting a worried glance at the honey pot. Oh boy, honey. That's what Tiggers like best. I was afraid of that. Pooh said the trigger popped down at the table, grabbed the honey, dug his paw, and Tigger said, putting a glob of honey in his mouth. Yuck, he said. He was swallowed by his first mouthful. Tiggers don't like honey. He gagged. That sticky stuff only fit for Hufflepuffs and the Weasleys. You mean elephants and weasels? Pooh corrected him. That's what I said. Hufflepuffs and Weasleys. Tigger said, well, what do you have? Hufflepuff, what do you do? Pooh inquired. Oh, nothing much. Tigger said nonchalantly, just steal honey. With that, he went bouncing the door and into the night. Suddenly Pooh was all alone, or was he? Pooh had a horrible feeling that the last the Hufflepuff, or it was a Weasley, was looking around outside. He bolted the door, picked up the pop gun, and determined to stand guard over his honey. Hour after hour, Pooh kept his lonely vigil until the very bustling night turned into a very rainy night. Lightning flashed, thunder crashed, and somewhere between flashing and crashing, Pooh fell asleep. Pooh dreamed he was surrounded by Hufflepuffs and Weasleys, all shapes and sizes. Some were black and some were brown. Some were up, some were down. Some had polka dots, some had stripes. All had one thing in common. They all wanted to steal his honey. As Pooh tightly clutched his honey pot, one of the Hufflepuffs turned weary and began dousing him with water. The chilly drops cascaded over Pooh, soaking his head over to toe. He woke up suddenly, and Hufflepuff and Weasley were gone, and the water remained at all Pooh's knees and were leaking through the ceiling. Pooh clogged his eyes for a mirror. After studying very dump near reflected, he asked, "Is it raining over there?" Without even waiting for an answer, he said, "It's raining where I am too." As a matter of fact, I was raining all over the 100-acre wood. The rain came down, 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 and the river rose up, 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 rising, and finally crept his bed into Piglet's. Poor Piglet was terrified. The water swirled around him, and he grabbed paper and pen and frankly scribed, "Help, Piglet, me." Then he placed the message to the bottom and tossed it the window into the raging river. As the rain came down, Piglet tried to scoop up the big iron pot, and the pot was not, and definitely not, big enough all around the water. Floating atop the wooden chair, Piglet kept on bailing, but as soon as he was bailing, he was sailing through the door. Meanwhile, Pooh was having quite a difficult time himself. He managed to save 10 honey pops. He sat up and then near the branch of a tree over the river, more than ready to supper. He stuck his head into the pots, but as Pooh tried to stop the supper, the river soaked up the Pooh, and he fell the branch into the swirling water. Upside down, his head was stuck in the honey pot. Pooh was carried along with the current. 100-acre wood got flooded and flooded, but the water couldn't make sure the Christopher Robin's house. So, once everyone's gathered, everyone except for Piglet Pooh, Eeyore, that is, in the midst of the excitement, Eeyore stubbornly stuck out his task and find a new home for Owl. While Eeyore was off his hunting, Roo made an important discovery. "Look," he said, "I found a bottle. It's got something in it, too. It's a message Christopher's created. It says, 'Help, Piglet.'" Turning to Owl, he said, "You might fly over to Piglet's house and tell him it was with a rescue." So Owl flew over that flood and soon began spotting the two small objects below him. He was one little piglet caught in the whirlpool, and the other was Pooh, floating downstream. His head was stuck in the honey pot. "Oh, Owl, I don't mean to complicate, but I was so scared." "Be brave, little piglet. Chin up and all that sort of thing. It's awful hard to be brave when you're such a small animal," Piglet pointed out. Then he diverted some small mime the unfortunate predicament. "I should tell you an amusing anecdote," Owl offered. "It occurs in a distant cousin of mine." Owl had just begun the story when Piglet cried, "I beg your pardon, Owl, but I think we're coming to Flutterfall, a very big waterfall." "Please," said Owl, holding up a wing. No interruption, but Piglet was already being carried away with the current. In a moment later, he fell through the falls, in which Pooh would bear close behind. Head over heels, the two friends tumbled down the gushing waterfall, down, 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 until they finally landed in the quiet pool far below. "Oh, there are Pooh Bear. Oh," said the Pooh was popped in Piglet's chair. Now, to continue my story, unfortunately for Pooh, Al didn't have time to finish his story, for it quickly floated the river where Christopher Robin was and the others were waiting. Pooh, Christopher said, Robin, lifting his hand off the chair. Thank goodness you're safe, but where is Piglet? All of a sudden, something emerged under the chair. It was Pooh Honeypot. Here I am, Piglet replied inside the pot. Pooh, Christopher Robin cried. You rescued Piglet. I did, Pooh said. Yes, Christopher Robin said, patting on Pooh on the head, and it was a very brave thing you do. You are a hero. I am, Pooh said. Yes, Christopher Robin said. As soon as the flood is over, I shall give you a hero's party. Pooh's hero party had barely began when everyone came struggling in. I found a house for Al, and I said Eeyore is a good show. Al hooted happily. Where may I ask is it? Follow me, I'll show you, Eeyore said. So everyone followed Eeyore, but much to his surprise, they got to Al's new house. It turned out to be Piglet's house. Why are you stopping here? Christopher Robin asked. This is Al's new house, everyone said proudly. What do you think of it? There was a long moment of silence, and Christopher said, it's a nice house, everywhere. But Kanga said, it's a lovely house, but the best house is in the whole world. Piglet sighed, his eyes full of tears. Tell them your house, Piglet, Pooh whispered. But Piglet didn't have a heart to disappoint Al. No, he said, the house belongs to our good friend Al. But Piglet Rabbit said, where will you live? Well, Piglet said, I guess I shall live with me. Pooh broke in, taking Piglet's hand, and shall we live with me? Won't you, Piglet? With you, Piglet? Whimpered Tear-Eye. Oh, thank you, Pooh Bear. Of course I will. Piglet, the very grand thing to do, Christopher Robin said. Piglet's other hand, heroic thing. Rabbit claimed Pooh was second good without it 2 days. Can't we make a one hero party to a 2 hero party? Of course we can, silly old bear. Christopher Robin also they do. Who was a hero for saving Piglet? Piglet was a hero for giving Al his grand home in the beech tree. Some of these deeds and brotherly generosity, everyone gathered around the heroes shouting, hip hip hooray for the Piglet and the Pooh. Then Pooh and Piglet were scooped up in the blanket and tossed high and high, clear blue sky.